Welcome to the Bank First Ranger Hour. Super Talk Mississippi 93.7 Spotlight on Northwest Community College. And you can listen to our live stream at supertalknorthms.com. Just click on the link for the Bank First Ranger Hour. Now, here's your host, Gary Darby.
Good morning, North Mississippi. Let's talk about Northwest, shall we? The director of the Heindl Center for the Performing Arts, Blake Bostick, is going to join us. And we're going to have one of the cast members from the upcoming performance of Annie. We will have a discussion with Jeffery Kelley, who will be on. He plays Rooster Hannigan in the performance. We'll get with all of that. We're going to make a full show out of that with all three of us chatting here in the next segment, and then we'll hold Blake over and we'll chat some more with him as it goes along. We will discuss things at the Heindl Center. The performance of Annie is 5 days away. We'll chat about that. We'll do a lot of things with our friend Blake Bostick and one of our cast members coming up as the show gets started. It's a Thursday, March 21st edition of the Bank First Ranger Hour. Let's get it started, shall we?
This hour is everything Northwest. Your connection to Northwest Mississippi Community College and powered by Bank First. Thanks for joining us on the Bank First Ranger Hour. Join the conversation now by texting 662-426-1093.
And friends, once the program is over, we get it all saved. We'll put it up in podcast form. Anywhere you find those podcasts, go check it out, the Bank First Ranger Hour. In case you ever miss anything on a Thursday, it's there for you. You can find out about Northwest Community College. Our friend Blake Bostick is the director of the Heindl Center for the Performing Arts. We will open up the discussion first with him. Hello, Blake. Good morning.
Good morning, Gary. How are you?
Things are good. We're getting another opportunity to chat about things going on in North Mississippi, bringing great performances to the people. I know you're excited about what's coming up next week, and if you don't mind, I'll let you go ahead and bring in the third party of the discussion here. Go ahead.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Gary, and I'm thrilled to be on this morning. As you know, I'm always excited to talk about what we have going on at the Heindl Center, and we are thrilled to let folks know about what we have coming up this Tuesday, March 26th. We have the National Broadway Tour, Annie, coming to the Heindl Center at 7:30 this Tuesday. And we are excited to have a cast member joining us on the air this morning. It is Jeffery Kelley. He plays Rooster Hannigan in this National Broadway Tour. And Jeffery, who plays Rooster, he attended the American Musical and Dramatic Academy in New York City. He's played all kinds of roles in various plays, including Fluke and $1 Million Quartet. He played Tommy DeVito in Jersey Boys. And so we are so excited to have Jeffery on the air with us to talk about Annie.
Hi, Jeffery.
Yeah. Hey, thank you guys so much for having me.
So he called you Rooster. Are you already in character? Or are you already there?
I mean, only every night. You know, it's a really fun role. It's very rewarding. It's fun to play the baddie. It's great, man.
He mentioned, some of the other things, and you just talked about it. You're a bad guy, and so take us through what it takes for you to get into that mode of playing Rooster Hannigan and what you have to go through.
Yeah, it's so hard to be such an unlikable person. I think it just comes naturally to me. I think. No, but I think it's a lot of fun because I think most of the roles I've played through the entirety of my career have been like sort of more of a happy-go-lucky protagonist type. And so, when I was playing Tommy DeVito, who's not really an antagonist, he's the antagonistic force in Jersey Boys when I was actually in Memphis. It becomes more of like you get to have a lot more fun with those kind of roles because you don't have to. You're not really playing by the rule books of the world that you're living in, and it's just really fun to sort of get out there and kind of cut loose and have fun with it,
Blake, jump in at any point, but I want to get this out of you, and I like doing this with our performers. How long have you been on stage, and when did the bug bite you, so to speak, that you knew this was the pathway and this is what I'm going to do?
That's a great question, because I had a really unconventional start. I ended up picking up theater around the time I was like 23, about to turn 24. I had like a brief stint in middle school, but I really genuinely wasn't. I didn't really care too much about theater at all when I was that age. And then I was a drummer for a number of years. I was trying to go back to school. I was at my community college that I had graduated from, and this guy, Brian Rice, who was head of the technical department, he had gotten me like drum gigs before, just came into the music room one day, asked if I wanted to be in Macbeth. I said yeah, because I was just trying to do something different, and I really enjoyed that. And I was like, you know what, I'm a musician. I'm going to go out and try to do some musical theater. And then I auditioned for How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, got that, and then I just kind of loved it and kept going with it. And so I had a very, very late start in like such an unconventional way, but to be where I am now and started when I did and how I did, it's a really good feeling,
And that's awesome, Jeffrey. And you said that you have connections to the Memphis area too. You said you played in Jersey Boys at Playhouse on the Square in Memphis. Is that right?
Yes, yeah. I got to work under the direction of Michael Ingersoll, who also worked at Playhouse on the Square for a long period of time. I believe he lived there for a while in Memphis. But I really enjoyed my time there. It's a really great theater. They have an amazing season coming up too, which I'm very excited to just take a peek at. Hopefully I can go out and see some of the work they do there.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're so excited to be able to add to the theater scene in the Memphis area, North Mississippi. Our venue is brand new. It's about a year old, so we're kind of excited to bring you back to a familiar area to play this iconic role. And I had a question for you about that too. This character, Rooster Hannigan, of course, is the villain, the main villain, I suppose, of Annie. But, there's quite a legacy. You have Tim Curry playing a rooster back in the 80s movie version of Annie. How do you feel about being in the legacy of a guy like that?
It's really interesting because, like, up until I was auditioning for Annie, I didn't really know much about it other than, like, it's a plucky, redheaded orphan. I knew about Miss Hannigan. I knew about Daddy Warbucks, and I knew about the dog Sandy, but that's about all I knew about the show other than, like, Hard Knock Life, but like I mainly knew the Jay-Z version, and what else did I know? Yeah, I think that's about it. But so it's kind of interesting because I really didn't. There's a lot of people who have followed the show, or they're very into the show, and they grew up with Annie, and I just didn't have that connection to. It's not even source material because the movie came out after the original Broadway production came out. But with Tim Curry having portrayed that role, I tried not to watch it because the director wanted to go in a different direction than what's on screen, and so I didn't want to start adopting things from his performance into my own. Sure. And then I took a peek at it once we were past 100 performances in. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna check it out and just see what I like and what I don't like about it. And Tim Curry is Tim Curry. He's a fantastic actor. Yeah, he's a fantastic actor and performer, and he brought so much to that role, but I think a lot of it was just Tim Curry being Tim Curry and being the amazing actor that he is. So it's kind of interesting to be playing the same character in a totally different light with totally different motivations, and it's a lot of fun though. It really is, and I get that question a lot where people have asked if his performance had influenced mine, and it hasn't, but I'm definitely sort of tipping the hat and paying homage to certain moments in the show to him now that I've seen his performance.
It's interesting.
Yeah, that's amazing. Go ahead, Gary.
It's interesting that you said that because that was a question that obviously I think we all want to know is when you're on stage and you're doing these things and you have people that have played before, do you pay attention or not? But now that you've answered that question and you have looked back, do you mold it? Do you change the character? Are there things that now that you're like, you know what, Jeffrey Kelley's going to put this on it? Has it changed as you have been performing this musical?
Yeah, totally. I mean, part of it too is, you know, these are the biggest audiences I've ever performed in front of. You know, we were in Boston, we were at the Wang in front of like 3,500 people. When we were in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Fox, it was like over 4,000 people. So it's once I got very comfortable in the role and performing in front of that many people, I think it just started to take on a life of its own, and it's I feel very like in the moment in that role, you know, not really worried about, not overthinking, not giving expectations, just kind of stepping into it. And there's stuff that I'll discover on like a nightly basis that I'm like, oh, that really worked there. Let's carry that over to the next one. And you know what I mean? It's like when you're doing I think we're going to be doing over 200 performances on this run of the tour. It really sort of takes on a life of its own, and you just kind of build and build and build. And so I think in ways like, to me, it hasn't seemed like it's changed much, but I guarantee if I could see my first performance versus my current performance, I think it's probably drastically different than what I started with when we were in rehearsals and did our soft opening in Paducah, Kentucky.
Well, we were thrilled to see your iteration of Rooster Hannigan this Tuesday in Senatobia, and I hope we get a chance to hear your version of Jay-Z's Hard Knock Life this Tuesday.
Yeah, a little bit more of a backbeat on that one, but yeah.
Well, if you want to record a version of that, you singing some Jay-Z, send it to me. I'll put it on our social media page.
Oh, absolutely! Sure. You'll be the first one I hit up about that.
All right. So what's it like working with such a large cast and a big production like this, full orchestra, live dogs? You know, it's quite a production. Has that been a cool experience for you?
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, you know, we travel all over the country. We do a lot of flights because it's not really a straight line. We're not going bus and truck all the way. We're flying a lot, and we have 2 dogs. There's our full-time Sandy and the Sandy understudy, and then we've got the 7 orphans and their parents, and we've got a tech crew and the pit band, which is surprisingly, I think it's 9 total people. But when you hear it, it just sounds like a full orchestra, and that's due to the musical stylings of Matt Smadal, who came in and just sort of reworked the show in such a way that the orchestrations for this particular production are absolutely brilliant. And you know, where it's been. There's moments where it's challenging, you know, traveling this much, but I really do think that, like, we have a really good mix of people in this cast, and it really kind of takes the load off. I think for, you know, this is the first national tour that I've ever been on, and I think this is probably one of the best ways it could have gone, and I'm really happy to be doing this. And so the challenging moments really don't seem hard at all. They just, you know, it's fun, and we're going to all these really cool cities and locations. So that also helps. Is that, you know, I'm really getting a feel for the country, which so much of it I hadn't seen up until now.
Well, well, that's amazing. Very, very cool.
Jeffrey, we thank you for your time this morning. Really appreciate that, and I know that North Mississippi is excited to see the musical performance next week. And Blake, can you hang on after the break and we'll chat just a little bit more?
Yes, sir. I can talk all day about what we're doing at the Heindl Center, for sure.
All right. Jeffrey, thanks again. We appreciate you so much.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
All right. We'll have more coming up here on our Bank First Ranger Hour. Jeffery T. Kelley is his name. He will play Rooster Hannigan in the performance at the Heindl Center. Annie the Musical is coming up on the 26th. So you know we're going into break this way. We've got Blake on the other side as we'll continue our discussion next.
Thanks for listening to the Bank First Ranger Hour, your connection to Northwest Mississippi Community College on Super Talk Mississippi 93.7 and streaming live at supertalknorthms.com. Just click on the link for the Bank First Ranger Hour.
Well, I hope our guest and director of the Heindl Center, Blake Bostick, doesn't mind that I'm playing the Steinway piano at the Heindl Center. I didn't know you were this talented, brother.
Man, I love to play any chance I get.
Great stuff. And friends, you can go, whether it's the Facebook page and check this out at the Heindl Center or whatever, and you can hear more of Blake's performance there of tomorrow. What a great conversation with Jeffery, huh? And it's obvious his excitement to play the role of Rooster and bring the musical to the people around the country.
Yeah, it was so great to have Jeffery on to hear about his role. And, this is such a big cast. We are so excited to have this national Broadway tour, Annie, coming this Tuesday. It really is such a privilege to be able to host this production, and we really are excited about people being able to come out to see it.
Guess we better tell them how they can get tickets before we continue rolling through. I'm sure there's still, or are there still tickets available for the Tuesday performance?
Absolutely. We have quite a few great seats still available. People can get those tickets online at heindlcenter.org, or they can just visit our box office, and we are open Monday through Friday from 12 to 4:30 there on campus in Senatobia at Northwest Mississippi Community College, or people can call the box office and purchase over the phone at 662-562-3478. So it's really easy to get those tickets, and there's still some great seats available, so we hope people will take advantage of that.
You've grown up in the area and in the arts world and know what it's like, whether it's been going to things in Memphis or, boy, we've got great performance that goes on in the DeSoto County world, the Panola Playhouse in Sardis. I know that, there's film festivals and things in a lot of our cities, and I know that the Oxford Film Festival is coming up very soon. Mississippi and North Mississippi truly is a nice place for the arts and for theater and for an opportunity for a place like the Heindl Center to get a traveling musical like this. I mean, it's a good get, and it's another obvious way for North Mississippi to kind of show themselves off to the performing world.
Absolutely. We are so blessed to be a part of the performing arts scene in the Memphis area and in North Mississippi. And I've been to so many different venues and seen so many different performances, and the Heindl Center really is just unparalleled in how comfortable it is, how accessible it is, and the quality of the performances that we're able to bring to Senatobia, which is really easily accessible from everywhere in this area. It's just a short drive from Memphis and DeSoto County, about 25 minutes down 55. From your studio over there in Oxford, Gary, it's about the same distance, maybe 30 minutes from Oxford. It's very easy to access. And, we're so excited to be able to be a part of that scene. And, speaking of performing arts in North Mississippi, Annie is such an iconic play. The first time I remember being exposed to Annie was just after the Lander Center opened in South Haven. And, of course, at that time, it was the DeSoto Civic Center, and they built this beautiful theater there. And at that time, the DeSoto Family Theater, which I believe was initially called the DeSoto Children's Theater, opened. And I believe their very first performance in fall of 2001 was Annie. And so I was a younger man at the time, just a boy at the time. And I remember going to see Annie on stage there, and I just fell in love with it. The songs are so memorable. The story is heartwarming. It's the story of persistence and resilience. And I've loved Annie for decades now at this point because of that performance. It's the first play I remember seeing as a child, and so it's so cool to be able to bring this national Broadway tour of Annie locally to Senatobia for people to be able to experience that in its fullness.
Sure. Again, this comes up on the 26th. We can go to heindlcenter.org, get all that information. With that, and hearing how big the group is and all that will be brought, including, the Two Dogs Plus, the children that will be the orphans, and then the adults that are the actors and actresses and that will be performing and singing. What is it like for you guys there at the Heindl Center and the people that help get the stage ready, get the sound check, get everything done? How much time and effort goes? We talk a lot about, the people and the things that are coming in. We don't talk enough, I don't think, about you and your crew and what you do. How will you guys get things ready for Tuesday?
Oh, there's nothing to it, man. No, just kidding. It is a lot of work. A lot of work to prepare for a production of this size. We have this world-class venue, but this is definitely the largest production that we have had the chance to bring in since we opened just over a year ago. We have a fantastic team. Our production manager, William Carrero, is instrumental in helping make all of this happen. Our assistant director, Karen Chester, is phenomenal in our front of house operations and all that is involved there. And then, we have a volunteer team of ushers. We have ticket scanners, concessions. We have all these folks that we bring in. And then there's a lot of local labor that has to be hired for these national Broadway tours as well, because, this is Annie not only brings in this large cast and orchestra and crew, but they have 4 18-wheeler trucks with their sets and equipment and all that have to be unloaded and set up, and they roll in the morning of the show. Everything gets set up. We do the play, and then it gets all packed up. So it's a long day. It's a lot of work, but it is so incredibly rewarding to bring this caliber of performance to Senatobia. It certainly is a lot of work, and there's a lot of prep that goes into this sort of thing, but it's very, very rewarding to be able to offer these performances to patrons.
Okay, what else do we need to get to the people before I let you go this morning?
Yeah, so in addition to Annie coming up this Tuesday, March 26th at 7:30, we've got 4 remaining performances in our spring season after that. So just to give people a heads up on those, we have another touring musical coming on April the 20th. That's Dogman the Musical, and that's part of our Children's Performing Arts series. We actually have adult and children's ticket prices for Dogman the Musical. That's on a Saturday afternoon. And then to round out our star-studded spring season, we have 3 phenomenal concerts coming up. So on May the 17th, we have the Christian music artist Colton Dixon. And then on June the 12th, we have American Idol winner Ruben Studdard, along with another American Idol winner who's going to be performing with him, Candace Glover. And then our final performance of the spring season really stretches into the summer. That's on June the 29th. We have Mississippi native and I believe the youngest Grammy Award winner ever, Leanne Rimes, coming to the Heindl Center stage. She's in Australia right now, so she'll be back from down under in June. And I believe we actually have her first performance when she returns to North America. So we are thrilled to be able to welcome Leanne Rimes in June as well.
Excellent. And, of course, you'll be letting us know very soon what's coming up in the fall and in 2025, I'm sure. It's been a great visit again with you today. Again, if you want to give the information on how to get tickets to Tuesday's performance of Annie or anything else, and we'll let you get on to being the director of the Heindl Center here on a Thursday.
Yes, sir. Well, we are so excited to announce the fall season coming up as well. And like I said, I have all those secrets under my hat at the moment. I'm looking forward to sharing those secrets as soon as I can. But in the meantime, our spring season is going strong. We have great seats available for all the shows that I've mentioned. And, Annie is coming up this Tuesday, the National Broadway Tour, the musical Annie at the Heindl Center at 7:30 p.m. this Tuesday, March 26th. People can get tickets at heindlcenter.org or at our box office Monday through Friday, 12 to 4:30 there in Senatobia.
I thank you for coordinating this program today. You did a tremendous job, sir. Don't take it away from me. I still need to have some kind of employment along the way, but you did a great job getting Jeffery with us and getting it all pulled together. Thanks so much, Blake.
Thank you, Gary, and I look forward to coming back anytime.
Sounds good. That's Blake Bostick. He's director of the Heindl Center for the Performing Arts. We have talked about Annie, the performance coming up on Tuesday. Again, heindlcenter.org to find out about that and any of the other shows that are going on. Now, I don't want to stop this segment without talking about other things in the arts that are going on the Northwest Community College campus. The Northwest Choirs have their spring concerts coming up, and I'm sure we will discuss this a little bit closer, but I thought we would go ahead and we would get a little bit of the detail to you as the three performance choirs will have their spring concert on April the 4th at 7. That also will be at the Heindl Center for the Performing Arts. So the Ranger Chorale, the Ranger Consort, and the Northwest Singers will all be performing on April the 4th in their spring concert. And then we have talked already from the theater department about this that's coming up also in April on the 12th and the 13th, the 14th, and then the next weekend, 19th, 20th, and 21st in April, with the theater department putting on a production of the theater classic Boeing. Now, that will be at the Fine Arts Auditorium, and you can go to northwestms.edu, and you can catch all of the performance times and where the theater productions will be in mid-April, where the choral department will be having their spring concert series, and everything going on with the Heindl Center, all online right there for you. So please go check it out. 9:42, we'll take a final break, and then we'll come back and get into Northwest sports, other things that are happening along the way. But most of our discussion today on this Thursday's Bank First Ranger Hour has been about the production of Annie. And we thank Blake Bostick, and we thank Jeffrey for being on with us and talking about what will go on in Senatobia on Tuesday.
Tomorrow, bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrow till there's none. When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick out my...
We're talking Rangers this hour. Thanks for joining us for the Bank First Ranger Hour. It's a special conversation about Northwest Community College. There's a campus near you, and you can join the conversation by texting to 662-426-1093.
Bank First Ranger Hour in podcast form a little bit later on. Check it out in case you missed any of the conversation that we had about the performance coming up, Annie the Musical, happening in Senatobia on Tuesday. You can find it in podcast form a little bit later on today. Sports happening, as you know, several seasons. Rodeo got underway as we talked with Brian Lentz on last week's program. Some really good performances, including a winner in the barrel race department there in rodeo at the first one that they had at East Mississippi Community College. And there are other performances, including the one that will be in Senatobia coming up in this spring schedule that rodeo has. Tennis is underway. And you've got softball, baseball teams that are playing. Softball, even though 3-3 in Mississippi play, bounced back with a couple of wins over Mississippi Delta to even their Mississippi Conference record at 3-3, as on Tuesday they beat Delta 8-7 and 4-2 in Senatobia. And at number 9 in the country, Coach Bramlett and the Lady Rangers softball team, now 16-6 overall and 3-3 inside the MACCC. They will go Saturday against number 13 East Central. Those two games will be in Senatobia. They're on the Northwest campus at noon and at 2. And then before we have another Ranger Hour, they will go to Goodman and take on Holmes on Tuesday for a 2 o'clock and a 4 o'clock start. You'll be able to watch number 9 Northwest, number 13 East Central on Ranger TV. Simple way to do that, nwccrangers.com. Northwest Baseball and Coach Carson now 20-7 on the year and 6-0 in conference play. They're coming off of a couple of close ones against Delta on Tuesday, played in Moorhead 3-2 and 3-1. And so now with that, they also swept Colin in conference play, Southwest in conference play. A lot of very close 1-run, 2-run games in the conference, but off to that 6-0 start. And at 20-7 overall, Saturday, they're in Decatur against the current number 1 ranked team, East Central. So, yeah, you're playing a conference game, and you go to Decatur, and on Saturday at 2 and at 5 against the number 1 team in the country. We wish Coach Carson and the guys good luck there, trying to stay unbeaten in conference play and knock off number 1 at the same time. And then before we get back on the air, they'll have a matchup against Rhodes College's JV on Monday, 1 game at 3, and then Tuesday they will host Holmes in Mississippi Conference play. And that, too, anytime there's something going on in Senatobia, you can watch on Ranger TV. So check any of the schedules, any of the information out that you want or that you need about Northwest Athletics at nwccrangers.com. Program done. A Bank First Ranger Hour. Thursday, March 21st edition of the program 2024. Thanks again to our good people that joined us on the program today. Blake Bostick, director of the Heindl Center for the Performing Arts, and Jeffery T. Kelley, who is part of the crew playing Rooster Hannigan in the upcoming performance, Annie the Musical. That comes up on Tuesday night. Tickets available. Go to HeindlCenter.org. Back tomorrow and put our work week together from 9 until 10. Jay Thompson in studio with me. Enjoy this day. So long.